We're looking at 0305 Ford F250, doing the alternator. We pulled the air box assembly out of the way. Got a 10mm nut right there on that stud. Pulled that out. It's all just friction fits right here. So yank it off, and then this is also just kind of a friction fit right there. Got our 1/2-inch breaker bar. I'm going to put it down in the tensioner. Then we can loosen our belt. Just by pulling to the right. So I'm going to pull to the right. I'll need both hands and we'll do that. We can get the belt off. And it's really pretty easy actually. Taking off these 10mm bolts here, right there. And get this top bracket off. And then 2 10mm bolts down below as well. And the alternator should come out. And before we disconnect the electrical parts, we will disconnect the negative battery. Often there'll be an 8 or 10mm nut on there. You can loosen it up and take that off. Here we are disconnecting the battery. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. It is an 8mm. Loosen that up. Take it off. There we go. And then if we happen to hit a positive connection on the alternator, hit it to ground anywhere, it's not going to short out and cause sparks. So we're just going to break these bolts loose right here and take them off. I'm just using a 10mm wrench is all. Speed that up. There's also this wiring harness is wedged in there, so we'll use a screwdriver and pry this off. Or just pull it off, turn it on its side. Try and pull it off. You don't want to pull on the wires too much though. Maybe use a screwdriver and poke that through. I just got my 10mm socket and 3/8 ratchet. Just going to break loose and take out the 2 bottom bolts. So we were able to lift the alternator up and off of the bolts. See, one's still stuck there, and we can get to the connectors here. Let's work on taking those off. 10mm nut, and then a couple clips. You can use a small screwdriver and unsecure them. There we go. Alternator is disconnected and out. Reverse procedure to install. Hook up the negative battery cable is the very last thing you do. And you will have replaced your alternator on your Ford F-250 or F-150. It's a 5.4 liter Triton engine. So I'm just putting my new alternator in, and both these holes actually I think were a little damaged. Actually ended up tapping this hole on the alternator, 6mm and a 1.0 thread pitch. So I can get my bolts in here because this really started to get hard and I didn't want to break any bolts or anything like that. So you might want to test all the threaded holes on an alternator, and I have run into it before where they're just terrible and damaged. And so you want to find out before you put it all together that you can get all your bolts in, and maybe you can get another one if it's damaged, or you can bring it to the parts store and get them to fix it if you don't have the right tap and die sets. So just a little note about checking the threads that go into alternator before you put it on.